Hey everybody, this is Spear here, and we are continuing the Archetype 101s today, hitting up Mono Blue Janemba Aggro. And I've been saying for a long time, ever since Soul Striker really became up in popularity, that blue was well poised to be a good aggro deck. You know, with the advent of Bean, with a leader that's able to untap energy, it always felt like blue had the tools almost to be able to make out a proper aggro deck. And now Bandai has finally given us an archetype that really gives into that blue aggro strategy. And luckily for us, it's also a very generic one that any leader can run, which makes for a really fun archetype. But before we jump into the Archetype 101, I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Twitch, and sometimes on weekends for tournament runs. So links will be in the description down below if you want to check that out. With that said, let's jump into the 101. So as a quick overview, okay, I'm not even going to say it at this point. You already know what I'm going to say. It's a swap style aggro. Now, there's no swap in the deck. Don't get me wrong. But it plays in a similar fashion where you're essentially continuously swapping one body for another into more and more attacks. So it's very similar to that style. So if you love the idea of 1-2 swap from back in the day, this deck very much has that same vibe with the amount of attacks and the amount of pressure that it can put on very early on. It's vanilla centric. It does work with a bunch of vanillas. So if you have any vanilla synergies or cards like, let's say in the draft box, there are a ton of them there as well that you can get access to. Those cards are phenomenal in this archetype because they allow you to cheat out and work with your vanillas a lot more than just what the leader would be able to do. Finally, it's non-leader centric. The archetype is very open. You could play it with pretty much any leader. So we've seen Hit run this deck. We've seen Soul Striker, Goku Black, like Joey has said in his own channel. So a ton of different leaders that you can try the archetype with, which makes it really fun to experiment with. But specific to his archetype, we will look at Janemba. Auto, add one card from your left to your hand. When this card attacks, choose up to one blue evil incarnate or demon card with an energy cost of 2 or less from your hand and play it. So this would be like the Psyche Demons or Janemba himself. And he awakens at 4 life and you get to draw 2 cards, which makes sense. Untap energy on an aggro lead is like pretty busted. So here, just having the draw 2 makes sense. Also allows you to draw into more gas. On his awaken side, when he attacks, you get to draw a card. And now he has an activate main for 1 blue, where you get to place 1 card from your life to the drop area. You get to play 1 blue evil incarnate when energy cost of 2 from your energy, which means if you run out of gas in your hand, you can still extend your plays later on in the game. Sure, it'll cost you life, but in aggro deck, usually you don't mind losing the life yourself, knowing that it's going to lead to your opponent probably dying, especially when the entire chain pops off of a 2-drop Janemba. When we actually look at the chain, here's the 2 drops that we'd be looking to play. Janemba Enchanted Transformation. It's a 10k critical, and for 2 blue, you get to place this card in its owner's drop area and play 1 skillless evil incarnate card with an energy cost of 3 or less from your deck. Then you get to shuffle your deck. So you're cheating out of vanilla here, and this is really useful when you look at the rest of the chain. Although, if you don't want to go with this Janemba, you could always go with the vanilla one itself. Of course, you can play a 2 or 3 drop. So here we have a 20k vanilla Janemba. We also have access to a 30k Janemba here, and that's the one that you'd be fetching out with Janemba Enchanted Transformation. So that's the start. Those are the drops that we'd be looking to play if we want to use our leader's auto. And then what is the actual chain? And this is like the insanely powerful part of it. We have Janemba Bewitching Blow, a 19k critical dual attacker, which is in its own right a great stat line. It punches in for most things, and it will always be able to pressure the leader outside of a bean. And then he has an auto at the end of the turn, you sense a warp. So you don't want him to stick around, but that's fine because you get to do more with him later on via other cards. Activate main if you have 3 or more energy, and you choose one of your blue skillless battle cards with an energy cost of 2 or 3 and return it to your owner's hand. Play this card from your hand, and you can't activate the activate main skill copies of this card for the turn. So this is where we're getting into that swap style aggro, right? Okay, so my 2-drop went into a vanilla, and then into the vanilla, I can for free go into this Janemba on turn 3, mind you. It's not as blowout as getting on turn 2, but with something like Goku Black, you can go off on turn 2. And this is where we're seeing it, right? There's no restrictions here. You can be as open with your leader choice as you want to be. And then we have the Parasitic Darkness. So this Janemba archetype going into the Parasitic DragonBall archetype. So by choosing a Janemba with an energy cost of 3, you get to go out and fetch this Janemba Dark Parasite from your deck. A 20k critical, where if your opponent has 2 or more energy, when this card attacks, your opponent may choose one of their battle cards and send it to its warp. If they didn't, you get to draw a card and switch over your blue energy to active mode. And this is those punishing choices that the set 12 really brings in, where it's very similar to Offering, where you're going to do one thing you dislike doing, and if you're not going to do that, then I'm going to get a perk for it. Here, it's drawing cards and untapping energy, and many different archetypes in set 12 have these punishing choices type of effect. And of course, with every single one of these parasitics, we can evolve even further. So with one additional blue, which you can get from your Dark Parasite if your opponent opts to not pop off of a battle card, you get this 25k critical dual attacker. When a card evolves in this card, you get to draw 2 cards and switch the card to active mode, which means you're going to get even more swings in. So on turn 3 or 3 energy, whichever one comes first, you have your swing with your 10k crit, then you have your vanilla swing, and then you have your bewitching swing, which is 2 more swings, and then you have Dark Parasite that can attack, and then potentially you have Rampaging Demon that can attack 2 more times. So just with the chain itself, and that's not including Overwhelm, that's not including the leader swing, you potentially have 7 swings on turn 3. Almost all of which are crit, which is absolutely massive for the deck. It's a bunch of aggro, and it's one of the things I'm really excited to play going into set 12. And then we have some more consistency pieces. We have Psych Demon the Careless, a 1-drop that has an activate main. You get to place it in the drop area, and from play, obviously. And if you do, you get to draw a card, or you get to activate 1 Soul Cleansing Machine from your deck. The Soul Cleansing Machine being a 1-drop field card, where if your leader card is an Evil Incarnate card. So to use a field card, this is where you'd be looking to be using the Janemba leader as opposed to any other leader. When one of your Evil Incarnate or Demon cards is played, place the top card of your deck under this card, which is going to happen pretty often, especially if we're doing the whole swap style thing with the deck. And then activate main if there are 4 more cards under this card, and you place this card in its owner's drop area. Play 1 blue skillless Evil Incarnate card with an energy cost of 3 or less from your deck or drop area, and then shuffle your deck if you look through it. This is just another one of those consistency pieces. If you're opting to play the Janemba line and you want to make sure that you're able to go into your chain as much as possible, this Soul Cleansing Machine is one of those ways to be able to restart your chain all over again and being able to pop off your chain turn after turn after turn if you need it for whatever reason that you weren't able to kill off your opponent on turn 2 and 3. Then we have this promo Anti-Dimensional Slice. This is the TP, a 2-cost activate battle. You get to choose up to 1 of your Evil Incarnate cards and gets 15k power for the battle, which means with critical, you're going to be able to push a lot of damage here. And then you get to play up to 1 blue Evil Incarnate card with an energy cost of 2 from your drop area, restarting your chain all over again. So again, more consistency, able to restart your chain once you've popped off the first time and being able to keep on pushing even if you don't have everything in hand at the time. Then there's Old Synergy. We'd be remiss to not mention some of the best cards that any Janemba deck could be running off of these old ones. Here we have Psychic Demon rocking out. When you play this card, you get to choose one. You get to look at the top 7 and take a Janemba card, or you get to look at the bottom card of your deck and take a Janemba card, add it to your hand, which synergizes super well with Combo Attack Janemba. A 15k activate main for burst 2. You get to choose 1 Evil Incarnate card or Demon card in your battle area other than copies of this card returned to your owner's hand. And then you get to play the card and you get to take up to 2 lives. So now, not only are we turboing ourselves Awaken, it's not leader locked. And additionally, it works really well with the Psych Demon where we're basically fluting our Psych Demon. You know, we're getting a draw with him by being able to play him, look at top 7, get a draw, and for free be able to pop down a Combo Attack Janemba, which makes this a really great free play. That's also a 2-cost Janemba that we can then use to be able to pop off even further in our strategies when we need to. Another one is Chilled Greatest Pirate in the Cosmos. This is from the draft box. Unique once per turn for 1 blue. If this card's attack deals damage to an opponent, or removes a marker from a unison, you get to play 1 blue skillless battle card with an energy cost of 3 or less from your deck or drop area, which is great. It's not making you lose advantage out of your hand. And then you shuffle if you look through your deck. Activate main if you have 3 or more energy and you choose 1 skillless battle card in your hand and discard it, play this card from your hand, which means you get to pitch away that vanilla, you get to play Chilled, you get to swing with Chilled, which is another free attack. So here, now we're at 8 swings if we include Chilled, and then for just 1 blue, we get to be able to pop back a vanilla and be able to do that chain stuff over and over and over again. Even more vanilla synergy, we have Son Goku Nimbus Monster, where if you combo with this card, the auto can only work once per turn, but you're effectively free playing a vanilla, and then he can play himself as well, which is awesome. Even more ways to cheat out vanillas, and this makes it so much more splashable in any other deck where you can basically cheat out your vanillas in a way that maybe your leader wasn't so work with it, which means it opens up a lot of lines of play for leaders like Soul Striker, for leaders like Goku Black, and basically any other deck really. So that was the quick 101 on Mono Blue Janemba Aggro, a phenomenal archetype, one that I'm super excited to play. You know, but between launch, and that's because it's launch, and probably Shuman Salsa, I'm most excited to play Mono Blue Janemba. I love blue. I love what Bean allows us to do when we are in aggro deck, and I haven't played aggro in quite a long time, and I'd be looking forward to playing this one. And it's critical, it's swap style, and I miss 1/2 swap. There's a lot about this that's super fun, especially since we can explore a ton of leaders. Hit, Goku Black, Soul Striker, a bunch of different options that we can choose, and it's open to any other leaders we get in the future that might be good as well. And of course, there is its own leader, which is powerful in its own right. But that leads me to this question. What leader would you guys use to run Janemba, and what would your deck look like? Would you guys include Soul Cleansing Machine if you're using the main one or not? Leave me know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Hey, if you dislike him, thumbs down works too. And if you want to catch any more of my one-on-ones, guys, we are going to do every single set 12 archetype leading up to the release of Vicious Rejuvenation. Subscribe button's down in the corner. With that said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Ciao.